What's happening, everybody? Welcome to AMKA Podcast. It's Monday. I hope you are doing well. Me personally, I'm doing fantastic, and that's why I'm coming to you like to deliver some message, transmit some information, so you can stay updates. And today, they've been sparked a debate that's why Africa has never had a pop, and it's kind of ring in the mind because from the movie Conclave that we watched yesterday, Conclave, no, not yesterday, but last year, it's been predicted that an African could be a pope, right? And that novel was written in 2013, if I'm not mistaken. And they say apparently after Pope Francis, they're Argentinian, which was a South American. Now it's gonna be maybe an African Pope or Asian Pope. Instead, they've decided to go with an American Pope, which is for me it's still the same because Americans, white Americans, they are descended of Europeans. Their prevost is French. All right, I will tell you everything in the video, and Italian, but basically French. All right, so the question is like, why aren't there any black pope? So let's watch this, and it's gonna explain
It
everything,
is
and then I'm gonna add up and I'm gonna
267
top up.
popes now, and
But by
Africa's
the
long
way,
wait
if you
to
have
produce
anything to let
the
me know in the
leader of the
comment, just
1.4
drop it
billion
in the
member
comment.
Catholic Church continues. On Thursday, May 8th, an American national who also holds a Peruvian citizenship was elected Pope Francis' successor by 133 Catholic cardinals. 69-year-old Robert Francis Prevost, who has chosen the name Pope Leo XIV, won the papacy race, becoming the first American to hold the powerful seat. Among the candidates for Pope were Africans. Cardinals from the Democratic Republic of Congo, Ghana, and Guinea were among those who were widely speculated to stand a chance of becoming the next Pope following Francis' death in April 2025. But after the voting on Thursday, 65-year-old Fridolin Ambogo of DRC, 76-year-old Peter Turkson of Ghana, and 79-year-old Robert Sarah of Guinea fell just short of ascending to papacy. But before exploring what may have influenced the outcome, let us look at the qualifications of one to become a pope. First, the pope's seat falls vacant on two circumstances only: when a holder dies or resigns. The pope cannot be removed from office through impeachment. Any male bishop, cardinal, priest, deacon, or even a Catholic layman can become pope. However, he must be at least 35 years old, have studied a university course on the Bible theology or Christian law, and must be a baptized Catholic. If a layman is elected as pope, he must first be ordained as bishop before ascending to papacy. Pope John the 19th, who served from 1024 to 1032, was a layman. Now, back to our story. Why the long wait for an African pope? Recently, late Pope Francis' former point man on migrants, Cardinal Michael Jenny, made comments to the New York Times saying some African cardinals make him shudder. Cheney further said in the article published on May 4th that he becomes agitated when people say Africa's time has come to produce the Pope. According to him, such a push is so stupid, adding that the Catholic Church's priority should be evangelization and to bring the gospel to society in season and out of season.
Well, I actually do believe and I do understand, according to the Catholic rules and their constitutions, if I can call it, they have to follow evangelizations, just like the way she says. You cannot just it's by the merit. You cannot just come and name someone a pope just because it's African's time. It's Africa's time. It's America's time. It's whatever. But I do understand that part. But let me ask you this question. Africa has 1.4 billions of people. And in those 1.4 billions of people, the youth are about 60%, which is the margin, the majority is age is 18 to 25. Africa is the youngest population. So, which Fridolin Ambongo, the cardinal from Congo, he's like 65 years old. Pope Francis is 61 years old. He has more chances. Sarah, Taxon, whatever, from Guinea and from Ghana, they are a bit old because at the age of I think 80, you cannot be a pope anymore, which is it's really good. Although, what made them skip Africa, where there is a majority of Christians, like countries like Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, Cote d'Ivoire, like everywhere in Africa, like Christianity, Catholicism is like very big. Me myself, I went to a Catholic school, even though I was born Muslim, but I went to a Catholic school, right? My entire life, right? Learning everything about Catholicism and stuff like that, right? So many missionaries, so many priests, so many clergy, so many cardinals from Africa and up and down. So America has um 350 millions. I believe there's so many Americans Catholic, um Christian in general, but Catholic and Protestants like two different things. All right. And also, why would you skip that? And I do believe there are best pops like cardinals in Africa because we've seen that, like they are. But one of the things that I think they skip Africa, it's because Africans, they are Africans. You know what I'm saying? Like they have their taboo, they have things that they cannot allow. Homosexuality, LGBTQ plus and stuff like that. Things like even Prevost also was against that because we had a debate that he had to call out Pope Francis for allowing the same-sex marriage when Pope Francis allowed it. And also, I believe that Pope Prevost became a pope. People keep on talking about his calmness, he's holy and stuff like that. He's been a missionary. I saw the video. He's been to Kenya. He's been spending years in Peru, acquiring Peruvian citizenship 10 years ago. I do believe the biggest thing why he got being elected the Pope is because he's an American born. First of all, he's an European descendant because all the white people are European descendant. And also, he has two nationalities. He speaks about three languages, which is Italian, Spanish, and English, right? And also something like he got the
Czech-born
Haitian
Canadian cardinal, who was among the
grandparents,
133
which is he
cardinals
did
who
deny.
voted
Let
for
me just
Pope
play
on
the video and
Thursday,
then we're gonna
suggested
get
that
back
his
to that,
position on
right?
African cardinals was partly influenced by how the African continent is deeply opposed to same-sex agenda. Chani also faulted the African cardinals' conservativeness on contemporary issues. Guinea's Cardinal Robert Sarah publicly rejected a Vatican declaration that opened the door for blessings of same-sex couples. The declaration was a on contemporary issues. Guinea's Cardinal
Robert Sarah has been talking about he's been involved himself in politics. Um, he's been involving himself in politics. He talks about how the Western marginalize the rest of the world, how they create chaos, how they create the wars at the other side of the world and stuff like that. So for me, if he never spoke about those things, I believe he was going to get some point somewhere somehow because in conclave it's all about points, right? And but the fact that Africans they are raising this issue, we look, man, like you might be from not Africa, from Europe, from America, but I think not everything should be allowed, right? We know people want to be free and stuff like that, but not everything should be allowed. And according to the scripture of God, people always revolt God against their wishes, right? Moses spent years in Egypt, and then when he freed the Israelites, they had to revolt. They they started to worship. They started idolism. They started to worship statues and stuff like that. So when you speaking about that, people will always come at you and tell you that you are not supposed to tell them what to do. When you say no to some sort of the things that are in the scripture, people will come to you. So now being a pope, it's not just about being holy, it's about accepting how the world is going. I mean, like whatever the world is going, because we remember like we watched so many documentaries about Pope John Paul I, and then that's where the Illuminati they infiltrated the Catholic Church. So now there is some commandment. If you do not obey with us, maybe the Klux Klan will come and impose on you what to do because they are powerful. Maybe the mafia. I mean, so there is a lot of things going on in the Catholic Church, and you have to cooperate with those things. If you don't cooperate with those things, you're not gonna be elected as a pope. And as you know, I'm African. I know Africans like Africa. They have too much taboo. It's not like oh they are not open minded. No, but just like Chinese, just like Arabs, just like Japanese. I mean, you go to Europe, people have their culture and they want to preserve that culture. Although in Europe, it's totally like everybody is free to do whatever they want to do. And now you look at the society; it's messed up. People the French people that that the revolutions of women's body bring the feminism to the world. It shifted to America, and now homosexuality is allowed everywhere. So Africa, it's
Robert
kind of
Sarah
different. It's
publicly
not
rejected
like
a
that.
Vatican
And
declaration
to be a
that
pope,
opened the door for
it's going to be
blessings of
so hard.
same-sex
It's going
couples.
to be
The
so hard.
declaration was approved by Pope Francis. Observers said the recent papal election was going to be a tall order for African candidates, given that no African cardinal holds a major office in the Vatican. Nigeria's Father Anthony Alaba Akinwale, a professor of religious studies, told American Catholic newspaper, the National Catholic Register, that some people hold the disrespectful view that nothing good can come out of Africa.
Nothing good can come out of Africa. Nah, I don't know. Like otherwise, they couldn't come here for colonization. They couldn't come here and taking our gold. They couldn't create so many crises in Congo, Sudan, Ethiopia, Somalia, Libya. Mauritania, like Angola. Like look at all these rebellions that they've created, stuff like that. So nothing can come out of Africa. I know I don't believe in that thing. I always call Africa as a kind of like a transition. Being slavery lasted for 400 to 500 years. Cut all the ties with ancestors so they can manipulate and brainwash and maneuvering people, and people started to learn their way, and then you already created your own culture 100 years ago, 500 years ago, so you're just gonna be ahead of everybody. But surprisingly, we are equalizing, and like Africans are getting over there, and that's my reason why, for me, I see people should not be panicking and should not be that. Oh, why are there not any black pope? So I'm gonna head over to ChatGPT. Trying to why are there no any black pope chats? ChatGPT, why are there not any black pope? There is never been a black pope in the recent history, but it's not because of there is formal rule or law preventing it. The reasons are largely historical, cultural, and institutional, right? Historical Eurocentrism of church. The Roman Catholic Church has been centered in Europe, especially Italy, for over 1,000 years. Most popes have come from European countries, particularly Italy, because that's where the power of leadership of the church were concentrated. I'm gonna have to say no to that, because now, if you check in the Catholic that are in Italy, they are not pretty much a lot more than the Catholic in Brazil, in America, in Cote d'Ivoire, or in Congo. Congo has 121 million people, and 98% of the people there are Protestants there, Catholic and stuff like that. So you can't say like they don't practicing that Catholicism that they are practicing in where in Italy, in Rome, like that. Saudi Arabia, it's where there is it's the holy city of Islam. But Malaysia has more. Malaysia and Indonesia has more um, Muslims than Saudi Arabia. It's a fact. You can't say no because the population of Saudi Arabia, comparing to the Indonesia or Malaysia, between those two countries, there is one that is largely out shining everybody to the number of Muslims, right? Pakistan is like 100% Islam. The Muslims in Pakistan, they're like they are more than the one in Saudi Arabia because of the population. Bangladesh, it's still the same. So you can't say just because we are no, we have to elect Italians pops like every time and stuff like no. It's for me, it's a no. I don't know what you guys saying. Drop the comment below, but for me, it's a huge no. Like leadership in the churches. Lack of representation in the hierarchy. The majority of cardinals who elect the pope have traditionally come from Europe, since cardinals are usually chosen from bishop. I think this is the bad thing. Then they should just leave this religion to become a European religion where it cannot be practiced all over the world. You see, this is exactly what I'm keep on saying. Religion is kind of like a scam for me because you can't just bring things to control people and you don't want people to partake in the things that you brought to them. If the majority of the people it's Eurocentrism, why do you focus on going missionaries, blah blah blah, up and down Asia, South America, Africa to preach your evangelism? It doesn't make any sense. If you want to preach evangelism, then you need to know there is no success without a successor. So this is why I see so many Europeans they get things wrong. And but by the way, they manage to brainwash Africans, and Africans, boom, it's done. Colonial history and church structures in many African countries, the Catholic hierarchy was introduced through colonial missions. It took time for indigenous African clergy to rise to leadership position. Only in the 20th century and 21st centuries have more African cardinal been appointed. It could happen. There have been black cardinal, especially from Africa. For example, Cardinal Francis Arinze from Nigeria, Cardinal Ambongo from Congo, Peter Taxon from Ghana, and so on, and so on, and so on. So that's why you cannot have a black pope. You can see like they think it's not time for Africa yet, and Africans have been undermined so much, like in a Catholic community. But the funny thing is, Africans they always want to be religious and shit like that. This is the reason why me, personally, religions. I go to church, I do pray. Don't get me wrong. I do to mosque, like I fast Ramadan. I do pray. I believe in God. I'm a very big believer and super spiritual. But religions, no, I'm not. I know about religions. Don't get me wrong. I read the Bible. I read the Quran. But I just see it's more of manipulation than you think. You think you go to church, you go to pray God, blah blah blah. It's okay. Go to pray for yourself. But when it started to be involved in things like this, it's becoming more political and conserving the power, which is the Romans are doing, like controlling the world. You need to cooperate with them, and then if you can't cooperate with them, you can't be one of them. Whether if you can accept everything, you are not one of them. I mean, it's easy to understand, but African always wanted to follow like what the Europeans saying. All right. So for me, that's it for today. Next video is gonna be about Pope Prevost. I'm gonna talk about him, and I will let you know. Yeah, I will see you in the next video. But meanwhile, if you're new here to this channel, man, if you had something that I say it's wrong, you can drop in the comments. You can elaborate. You can educate us about the topic, what I'm just dropping right now. But this is my own opinion. That does not mean that I'm right. I might be right. I might be wrong. I'm a human. Nobody is always right. All right. So that's it for me for today. If you're new here, please hit that button, subscribe, smash that button, subscribe, hit the button like. This is how you helping us small creators. If you like the video, press the like, man. If you have something to tell, comment it below so we can see, and so the algorithm, the people can see that this is kind of interesting, and that's how you help the small creator. The more you like, the more you comment, the more people will be suggested the video, and it's gonna be interesting to them. And I will see you in the next video. Ciao.